Assalamu alaikum. Dear lovely students of class 7, welcome to Chattogram Government High School online class. Today, I'm going to conduct a class for the students of class 7 and with the subject English second paper. Before starting my class, I have to say something to my lovely students. Dear students, you know that the whole universe are now suffering from COVID-19 pandemic situation. It is a universal crisis, and a large number of students have the impact of COVID-19. Okay. Though they are not feeling sick, but they are mentally upset. But we have to remember that the students, the young learners, are now the worst sufferer of this pandemic. Most of the parents are blaming that. The students, that means you, are becoming used to making up late. Irregular reading, playing game all day, not eating on time, and remaining busy with TV and mobile phones most of the time. It is eventually harmful for your physical and mental health. Dear students, we know that closing schools means closes lives. You should remember that schools are not just a place for learning. They are the places where kids socialize, develop emotionally, and for some are refuge from trouble life. So there is no alternative to come to school, but our present government have decided very cleverly, and they tackled the situation very well. We know that the COVID-19 situation is going to be worse every day in our neighboring country, like India, are now suffering a lot. And the new variation of COVID-19 are being spread in our country also. So we have to be very careful about schooling of our children. For this reason, we have to active, we have to be attentive in our online classes. Okay? Can you understand? Very good. Now I want to go with my class. My today's class with the students of class 7, it is the first time, that means there is the first meeting with the students of class 7, and I think every student of class 7 are very eager to introduce with me, isn't it? So, at first, I'm going to introduce myself. Look at the screen. I'm Muhammad Abu Tahir, assistant teacher, Chattogram Government High School. And today, the students of class 7 with me with the subject English, second paper. And the question is, what will be our topic today? There are a lot of classes conducted by our teachers, and most of the grammar items are also discussed. So I have decided to conduct a class with what? Let me say, and let me show. Okay, fine. Look at the screen. My today's class is about comparison of adjective. Okay? Before going to deeper understanding, I would like to request all of the students of class 7 to join with me and collect all of your notebook and pen, please. And you have to write the important things, important notes in your notebook or khata, please. Okay? Can I start now? Oh, fine. Very good. Okay. Then look at the screen. Learning outcomes. After learning the lesson, that means comparison of adjectives, students, that means you can define what is adjective and you can give the examples of adjective. Okay? Then they can have knowledge of comparison of adjective. That means you can have knowledge of comparison of adjective. Students will know the ways of comparison. That means you will know the way, how many ways of comparison. And at last, they will be able to transform positive to comparative. That means you will be able to transform positive to comparative degree. Degrees are very important. At first, let me say something about adjectives. What is adjective? In English grammar, we know that there are 8 kinds of pairs of speeches, isn't it? And adjective is one of them. Let me say the kinds of pairs of speech. The first one is noun, second one is pronoun, adjective, verb, adverb, preposition, conjunction, and interjection. Okay? So we know that adjective is a part of pairs of speech. Okay, this is the learning outcome after learning, after watching the video, after doing the class. The students will define adjective with examples that can comparison they can compare of various adjectives, and they will know the ways of comparison, and they will be able to transform positive to comparative. But I have to say that there are 6 ways to transform one kinds to another. But if we try to discuss all of the ways, it needs a long time and it will be boring to you. So today I'm going to discuss only one rule, one way, and that is positive to comparative. So, my dear students, I am going to request again you to join with me and listen my class attentively. Okay? Very good. Now, look at the screen. Adjective. And what is the definition of adjectives? Look at the screen. Adjectives are words that are used to describe or modify noun or pronouns. Again, I'm going to say adjectives are words that are used to describe or modify noun or pronouns. For example, red, quick, happy, and obnoxious are adjectives because they can describe things. Now let me give some example. Okay, you can see the picture. There is a red hat. Okay, a red hat. Picture number 2, what can you see? A quick rabbit. Yeah. And third picture, a happy duck. And the last one, an obnoxious person. Look at the example. Hat, rabbit, duck, person, all are the nouns. Yeah. And we have to remember that adjectives are used before noun or pronoun. And before hat, in the first example, red, and the second example, rabbit, is noun, and the adjective is quick. That means it is used before noun. Happy duck, duck is noun, and happy is adjective. Person before obnoxious. That means adjectives are the words which are used to describe or modify noun or pronouns. I think now you can uh, clearly describe what is adjective. Okay? I think you are clear now. Very good. Now, go next. Look at the picture. There is a picture of a boy, and his name is Mamoon, and I'm going to pick a word for Mamoon, and that is tall. Think. Mamoon is a tall boy. Mamoon is tall. That is adjective. And then second picture, the name of this boy is Masum, and Masum is taller than Mamun. That means I'm going to gradually I'm going to describe the comparison of adjectives. At first, I also discussed what is adjectives. Now I'm going to describe what is comparison of adjectives. Look at the two pictures. In the first picture, you can see the boy is Mamun, he is tall. And the second picture, there is Masum, he is taller than Mamun. Okay? Now, the third picture. In the third picture, it is Maruf, and he is the tallest of all three boys. Can you understand? So, the comparison of adjectives, that means it is in three ways we can compare the adjectives: tall, taller, tallest. All are the adjectives, and from tall we can add ear, taller, tallest. Tall, taller, tallest. All of the adjectives. Yeah. Okay, fine. Now, can you understand? How can I compare with at the first one, with second one, and the third one? Okay, now let me show something more. That is adjective and the degree of comparison here. The degrees of comparison, three forms. That means degrees of comparison are three forms. Okay. Let me say first what is degrees of comparison. An adjective subquality changes its form when it is used to compare one noun to another. It is called the degrees of comparison of an adjective. Okay? Uh, should I have to say again? Okay, fine. An adjective of quality changes its form when it is used to compare one noun to another. It is called the degrees of comparison of an adjectives. As you saw earlier in the previous slide, I also showed what is the comparison of adjectives. And the comparison of adjectives are three forms. Number one is positive, and number two, comparative, and number three, last, superlative. So we have three degrees of comparison of adjectives. Number one is positive, number two is comparative, number three is superlative. Are you clear? I think you are. Fine. So look at the next slide. I'm going to say something about positive degree. That means I am going to describe what is positive degree. A positive degree, there is a definition. A positive degree is used to refer to one object, person, or place without making any comparison. Can you understand? A positive degree is used to refer one object, person, or place without making any comparison. That means there is no comparison between others. Only one object, one person, or a place. A positive degree should be used. Okay? Fine. Now let me give an example. I also take a word tall, and that is Mamoon. Mamoon is tall. That is the positive degree. Okay? The word tall is the positive, and the sentence is Mamoon is tall. Okay, fine. Then a comparative degree. That is the second one. Okay. A comparative degree refers to a greater degree of adjective as compared to the positive degree. It is used to compare two objects, people, or places. That means a comparative degree is used to compare between two objects, people, or places. Okay, let me give an example. I am going to say that taller. So, Masum is taller than Mamun. Look at the picture. In the middle, that is Masum, and at the last, on the right bird, right side, that is Mamun. So we can say that Masum is taller than Mamun. Okay, are you clear now? Very good. So, a positive degree and a comparative degree are also discussed. Now go to superlative. What is superlative degree? A superlative degree refers to the greatest degree of adjective. It is used to compare more than two objects, people, or places. Okay, let me give an example. Tallest, then that is Maruf, that is Masum, and that is Mamun. So, Maruf is the tallest among three boys. Can you understand? That is the superlative degree. That means superlative degree is used to compare more than two objects, people, or places. I also give an example with people. Then you can also give example with object or places also. Okay, my dear student, now I think you all can describe a positive, a comparative, and a superlative degree easily. Okay, can I go next? Fine. Now, there are six ways to transform sentences by changing degrees of adjectives. Now, come to your syllabus. In your syllabus, there is a topic of transformation, and it is using degrees of comparison. Okay, so we have to say that there are six ways to transform sentences by using degrees of adjectives. The first one, positive to comparative. Number two, comparative to positive. Number three, positive to superlative. Four, superlative to positive. Five, comparative to superlative. And six, superlative to comparative. There are six ways how to transform sentences by using degrees of adjectives. I also told you earlier that if we want to describe all of the six items, it will be taken a long period, long time. So it will be boring to you. You cannot enjoy. So today I have chosen only one way, that is positive to comparative degree. Okay? Rules for positive to comparative, as I say. Okay? Rule one, the first rule. Look at the first rule. How to make positive sentences to comparative one. That is rule one. That means rule one means first rule. Okay? Look at the first rule. Sentence refers to quality or quantity. If the sentence refers, describe the quality or quantity, we have to make comparative by using the structure like that. Okay, look at the structure. Okay, can you see on the screen? Very good. Subject plus verb plus adjective with comparative form plus then any other plus common noun. This is the structure. You can write down, note down in your notebook or khata, please. Subject plus verb plus adjective, comparative verb, then any other plus common noun. Let me give an example. Okay? Look at the screen. Positive. He is a good boy. In comparative, it will be he is better than any other boy. Can you understand? This is the rule one. Okay, fine. Now, rules for positive to comparative Rule number 2. Look at the rule number 2. Sentence starts with no other. If the sentence starts with no other, you have to follow the structure. What is the structure? Okay. It will be shown within a short time. Subject plus verb plus adjective with comparative form plus then any other instead of no other rest of the words. Okay, this is the structure. And now let me give an example. There is the example positive. No other boy in the class is so or as good as he. In comparative, it will be he is better than any other boy in the class. Okay, fine. Now we are going to discuss rule number 3. Rule 3, and sentence begins with very few. If the sentence starts with very few, then you have to follow the structure. Look at the structure, please. Subject of plus one, plus verb, plus adjective with comparative form, plus then most other instead of very few, plus next part of very few. And there is the example. Look at the example, please. Positive, very few metals are so or as useful as iron. Comparative, iron is more useful than most other metals. Okay? Have you written down? Okay, fine. Now, come to rule number 4. Rule 4. What is the rule for? Then, sentence including structure as plus adjective plus as. If the sentence structured with as plus adjective plus as, then you have to follow that structure. Here, subject of last one plus verb plus not in affirmative sentence. In case of negative sentence, not is not be used. Okay, if the sentence is affirmative, you have to use not, and if the sentence is negative, then not is not be used. Plus adjective with comparative form, plus than, plus first subject. Let me give an example, please. Okay, positive. He is tall as a palm tree. Comparative. A palm tree is not taller than he. The second example, positive. Your brother is not as fair as your sister. Comparative, your sister is fairer than your brother. That means in the first example, you say that the sentence is in affirmative form, so not is used in the comparative. But in the second example, in positive sentence, not is used, so in comparative, not is not used. Okay? The rule 4. And let me give the rule number 5. Rules for positive to comparative. Rule number 5. And you can see that sentence with as soon as will be changed into no sooner had and then. Okay? Look at the structure here. Well, not a structure. Look at the example here because there are no need to give the structure because structure is also in the rules. As soon as will be changed into no sooner, had, and then. Example. Positive degree. As soon as the teacher came, the students stood up. In comparative, it will be No sooner had the teacher come than the student stood up. This is the comparative. I think now you are very clear how to change, how to transform positive sentences to comparative one. So, if you understand clearly, you can make some others easily. So, I'm going to give some homework, okay? My dear students, look at the homework. I'm going to give 10 sentences to transform the following, to transform the sentences into comparative one. Okay? Read it out. Transform the following sentences into comparative. Before reading the sentences, I would like to request you to make the sentences or to make the answers of yourselves. Please don't take help from your parents, from your tutor. You have to do of your own. Because if you enjoy my class or if you listen to my class attentively, I think you will easily make the answers. Okay, when your school will open, you have to show the answers to your teacher. Okay, very good. Now I'm going to read it out for you. Number one, oranges are not as cheap as grapes. Number two, Salma is a beautiful girl. Number three, no other man in the room is as clever as he. Number four, very few boys are so intelligent as Rakib. Number five, Rekha is as fast as a horse. As soon as we reached the station, the train left. Mahi is not so Polish as his brother. No other boy in the village is so good as Hussain. Number nine, very few books are so costly as the 100. And number 10, and last, Sami is an excellent boy. Okay, those are the homeworks. So I think it is time to leave. Before going to leave, I again thanks all and say bye. My dear student, before leaving, I would like to remember all of you that you have to remain in your home. Stay safe, stay fine. If you want to go out from your home, please never forget to wear mask. Okay? Thanks again.